David Adamovich here for RDSN with head cross-country coach Don Nichter as he gets ready for the cross-country regional tomorrow at Lock Haven University. And Coach Nichter, first, thanks for joining us. And as you look ahead to the regional meet tomorrow, first let's talk about the guys. You've already seen the course with the guys. You had two teams that competed. The one group finished 4th and the other group, I believe it was 6th. What has you excited about taking that team back to the regional tomorrow?
Well, I think obviously our objective back in September was to get on the course, and that gives us a level of confidence. Today would be an awful day to be doing a pre. So fortunately we don't have to do that.
Absolutely.
We're going to head out tomorrow morning and kind of use the same routine that we use typically, which is to get up in the morning and get a little shakeout run underway and breakfast in the calf, and then get on the bus and make the big trip. But yeah, I think both teams are really confident. Had a couple of really good weeks of training since the conference meet 2 weeks ago, and gives us a level of confidence going into the meet that we know the course, and it's going to be a little soggy. I expect that, but that's okay. It's cross country and it's November, and that's not unusual for this time of year.
So we think about last year with the regional. Obviously, the teams are completely different. Last year, you were able to rely on the Scharf brothers to kind of guide the team, guide the scoring, and things of that nature. This year, it's been much more of a collective effort. You've had some guys like Romario Cruz, Dietrich, Overlander that have gotten involved and have pushed the envelope more this year. Teddy Mercer's another one. What is it about this team as a whole that can get them possibly that NCAA berth or at least compete at the high level?
Our success is going to be based on a team of 7 guys and women that run like they're capable of running the best version of themselves. And we put together a really narrow gap between 1 and 7. And that will be huge in terms of the impact of our overall team scoring. Having our 4, 5, 6, 7 runners right in the mix, along with our top 3 or 4. So yeah.
You said that kind of focuses on the men as the collective. Let's turn our attention to the women now.
Had a couple of meets, and again the time gaps are a little bit different between 8,000 and 6,000. But for the women, we've had a couple of really successful meets where the gap between our 1 and our number 5 runner was 30 seconds. And for this particular meet, it's no different. If we can keep that, as you just alluded to, keep that spacing between our 1 and 5, and then of course 6 and 7 pushing 5 in the overall scoring, that's going to be huge for our team. And it's interesting that both teams have a very similar profile this year than last year. We've had interchangeably people between our 1 and 5 runners at different meets all year. This meet might not be any different than that, but I think our challenge is to make sure that we've got 7 runners on the line that are ready to go, ready to put forth the kind of energy and commitment that you need to be successful. And if that happens, we'll take control of the race the way we can, what we can control, and won't worry about the rest when the scoring comes out afterward.
We'll talk about the course now for a second. You talked about how you were able to run, at Lock Haven earlier this year, which is obviously invaluable. And you mentioned about how today, with the downpour that we're having outside, not a great day for a pre-meet. So good thing you don't have to go back up there. But what kind of terrain then does the weather from today bring to tomorrow that changes, not the way you run maybe, but how you'll approach things?
Well, it's interesting because last year we were on our home course, which is the complete opposite of the course that we're on tomorrow. And our course being very hilly, a lot of turns, a completely different kind of environment than running a flat course. That's pretty much wide open, a lot of long straightaways that we'll run on tomorrow. So I think this team, I hope, and we've shown that we're able to run on a flat, fast course. It won't be as fast tomorrow because of the conditions, but it'll be flat, and our team's performed well this year on flat courses, so I'm excited about that, and their confidence level going in should be high. Not as worried as I was last year when we lost one of our guys mid-race because of an injury, because how wet things were when he fell on a hill. That hopefully won't happen. We'll start with 7 and finish with 7, and we're going to get after it.
And I think the final thing we'll touch on here is, obviously, with this being the regional meet, NCAA championships come up next weekend. What does it take for both of your teams, or some individuals, to get to that ultimate goal of the NCAAs?
Well, I think the way that we found last year, with now having 10 regions versus 8, and how the selection process works for those at-large spots. There are 22 of them. There are only 10 automatics, 1 team from each region, and then everybody else is competing, not only against your own region, but in fact you're competing against teams in the rest of the country. But again, that's outside our control. Our selection committee makes that decision. We've got to perform. We've got to finish 2nd, 3rd, typically in our region, to be in the mix. We know that. It probably won't go to the 4th spot in our region. But if you're finished 2nd or 3rd, then you put yourself in position to be considered. And I think that's where we are, And last year women were 2nd and men were 3rd. And the women made it, and the men just missed, probably the first team out. So, we know what's at stake. We know we have to run at that level in the region. I think we're prepared to do that, and excited to have the opportunity to see how it goes.